Today I will be informing you about the United States Air Force. The United States Air Force hasn't always been a separate branch of military service. It used to be known as the Army Air Corps. Before it gained its independence from the Army on September 18, 1947, the Air Corps was formed in 1914. The Wright brothers were visionaries and tinkers who would build the first aircraft to propose it to the Army Air Corps as a war machine to gain government funding. President Roosevelt realized that flight would occur in battle soon and fully supported them. They would eventually work hand in hand to provide certain skilled aircraft for combat. The early stage of these aircraft cost several pilots lives and limbs. Lieutenant Thomas became the first military officer in the Air Service to die from a plane crash. These were the box aircrafts, not today's conventional aircrafts, although some pilots like General Arnold would survive these terrors. The first air battle was in 1916. Pancho Villa forces had invaded Colombia and killed U.S. soldiers and civilians. It is known as the Mexican Expedition, although it failed miserably because of lack of technology in mountainous territories of Mexico. The World War that took over the European nations caused other nations' air power to develop quickly. The U.S. entered World War I late and lagged far behind European advanced air power because they had no frontline planes, although they had plenty of pilots to fly planes. So over 200 American pilots joined the Allied French Aviation Service and flew the Lafayette Squadron, which achieved great success and shot down 57 German planes and only suffered 9 losses. The first pilots would experiment dropping homemade bombs from their planes. Although the U.S. government still didn't believe in air superiority or a separate air branch, the U.S. military leaders used the media to their advantage during these years. They would promote aircrafts in a separate air service as what we needed to become the world's greatest military and air force. Assistant Chief Billy Mitchell was a strong separate air force advocate and would be later court-martialed for showcasing an aircraft bombing and sinking Navy battleships in 1920. The Navy and the Army saw their roles and budgets threatened and he became the marked man. He would later be separated from the Air Corps because of his allegations to separate the Army and Air Corps, but inspired more young leaders to continue. This and World War II led to the advancements of U.S. aircrafts. Harp Arnold contended with the fear that the U.S. wasn't careful. He believed that Hitler's forces would overcome the Army Air Force easily. Harp Arnold became the Caesar of aircraft manufacturers in the U.S. He convinced manufacturers to build new planes in the South. The Battle of St. Mihiel in 1918, when the U.S. broke through Germany's front lines, and the atomic bombing that the Army Air Corps used on Japan cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6, 1945, ultimately opened up the whole world in the power of air superiority and pushed the Army Air Corps to become its own separate branch, known as the Air Force. The first bombing, known as Enola Gray, killed nearly 100,000 people, dying instantly. The second bombing, known as Little Boy, killed 80,000 people, dying instantly. The mission of the branch today is to fly, fight, and win in space, in cyberspace. Presently, it is the #1 air power in the world. Its future goals is to maintain air superiority, maintain the environment, and to excel and to become even a greater air power today.